All right,
Good
all right. Good
morning.
morning, everybody. Welcome back to the I Win Morning Show. Now, it is raining cats and dogs outside on this Monday. So I hope you guys are staying safe, staying
I didn't
dry.
know that.
Yes, it is definitely storming. I always think about students and seniors who are catching the MARTA bus and school buses to get to and fro in the morning. So, make sure you're staying dry and make sure you're staying safe. People drive crazy when
I didn't know that.
it's raining outside. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. If you're tuned in, like and share
Morning.
this out with some people. We are well into the month of May, second week of May. And let's get right into the weekend. I hope everyone is doing well. Dr. Danny JT, it's so great to see you guys this morning. Let's chop it up and talk about the weekend.
Great to be seen.
Yes, seen. Yes, I see you. I
Yeah.
see you. I see you.
I see you.
You gonna make a song?
Dr.
Come on.
Danny, I
Take us
did.
there.
I was about to go there, but I don't want them to kick me off for copyright infringement.
Think
Don't
you're
want it.
okay.
Dr. Danny, you got a different like hair, like highlights and colors and stuff.
I love it.
Thank
I
you.
did. I noticed.
You
that.
noticed.
I noticed.
You all
that.
noticed, which made my day.
Yes, we notice all the time because Dr. Danny are gonna always come through with the hair. She's all about the 90s, baby. Every show you getting the style, a color, a pop or something, and it's awesome.
Pop
I
or
love
something.
it. Yeah, we
Pop
need
Or
that.
something.
Keep you
and she know
guessing.
what she be doing because she lays it out on her bed before she come on.
Like the first day of school.
Like
I
you lay
love
out
it.
your outfit. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
glad Dr. Danny mentioned first day of school. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. Teachers,
Yeah.
we love you. I know that it's a lot. I've been seeing a lot of videos online, and I'm like, wow, teachers are really going through. So we want to celebrate teachers, whether you're your child's first teacher, parents, early learning educators who are often forgot about in this conversation, and compensation as well. So shout out to all teachers
Yeah.
in all spaces. We love you. Sunday school teachers.
Yes.
This is what you do.
Wow.
Yes, this is for
Wow.
Sunday school teachers. This is for
Wow.
Bible study teachers, because teachers are teaching in a lot of different spaces, right? So classroom teachers, we love you, but early educators, parents who are educating at home, Sunday school, Bible study
Yeah.
teachers, shout out to you guys too. You helping make the world go round. Yes.
Same to
All
you.
fellow educators. Thank you. Yes.
What about
all
you?
educators. We're celebrating
And
you this week.
pastors who teach the word of God.
Amen.
Pastors who are teachers, because all pastors are not teachers.
Because all of them ain't teachers.
They
Yeah.
need a preacher teacher appreciation day.
Oh, you know they
Preacher
get the whole
teacher.
month. They get,
Well,
the
they
whole
get a
month of
preacher pastor anniversary. I'm talking about a preacher teacher.
Preacher,
Oh.
if you're a preacher teacher, we celebrating you on today as well. If you're teaching people to be their best selves, giving them some knowledge, helping them take the time to do some great things, in
And
this
give them
world.
a raise.
Give
I
teachers
give God
a
the praise.
Give teachers a raise and
Wait a
give
minute.
God the praise. That's the slogan for this week. That's the
Mhm.
slogan right there.
Wait,
That's
what is
the slogan right there.
What's
Give
the slogan?
teachers a raise and give God some praise.
But if you give God praise, they'll give him a raise because it's in the action.
Okay.
When praises go up,
The blessings come
when they
down.
go up,
Yeah. You got to elevate your praise.
Yeah. Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. There we go.
it went down.
A lot of
It went
action
down.
over there.
JT, you better.
Whoa, wait a minute. Huh?
Listen, writers are on strike, so we're not getting, any new content anytime soon. So we're filling in the gap.
We are.
you guys,
we are the writers.
We are
Isn't that
definitely
something?
filling in the gap for you.
Do they not? I'm for it, but I want to know. Like they say it happened. I think this is the fourth time it's happened. What do they do? Do they go in saying we want to raise? They say no. They say we're gonna strike. They go say okay, and then they start striking.
I don't
Yeah,
think they say it as much as just do it.
Yeah.
Man,
I mean,
What?
the money is what makes the world go round, guys. So like Stranger Things is a very popular TV series on Netflix. It's not filming.
Mhm.
It films here in Georgia, and so my heart goes out to, again, working families that
Wow.
are on these sets that cannot go to work now because the people who are making the dollar are like, oh, well, we know you're doing a great job and you're creating these things, but we don't want to pay you. And so,
Wow.
people are tired of that. And I was looking
And
forward
they
to the
making
final
money.
season of
They
Stranger
making
Things.
money.
Yeah.
They can raise and go up and get higher.
Yeah, they can. And here's the reality, guys. And we're just doing our opening. So, again, good morning, everybody. Let us know how your weekend was in the comments. Like and share this conversation with other people. But right now, if you live in the United States, there is a, writer's strike. So writers for television shows and live stream shows, reality TV, movies, all of these things are on, they're halted right
Jimmy
now.
Kimmel, I just thought about Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah,
and
live shows.
Stephen Colbert, they've been having to do replays.
Yeah,
because there's nobody writing. And it's like, wow, we never, you don't think about certain things that has to be in place.
Yeah.
And who knew?
Pay these people their money. And also, too, guys, there are CNN writers that are also on strike.
Really?
So their staff is a little shorted, and I don't blame them because they actually, if you guys really watch CNN, when a natural disaster happens, they're sending out their people. So these are the people who are on strike. Now, if I got to risk my life to go to this thunderstorm and you don't want to pay me money, my people on strike, babe, I'm on strike. Now, who is going to go out here? I mean, I'm just being honest. Who's going out in the thunderstorm? Because Susan, she's not going out there to mess their hair up.
Like,
all I have to say, teachers, if you're not feeling appreciated, there are some jobs where you can become a writer.
Yeah.
Come on.
You'll probably still make more money there as a writer than you would as a teacher. So.
You may now. You may find yourself in the same battle of, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, this weekend I had my Good Grief session, which was really timely, given that we've again heard of another mass shooting. Come on, Texas. What is happening?
Yep.
And when you think it's just in schools or you think it's in churches, no. It's also in shopping places. So just be mindful. Be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful that there is no rhyme or reason why folks are shooting folks up, except for the fact that we got guns out here and people want to use them. So people stop trying to rationalize why it's happening or how to calculate where it's going to happen, because there is no rhyme or reason. It is random and it's rampant. So anyway,
so that's the question I want to ask. How do we, I don't say we, but what needs to happen for this not to keep happening? I hear them say it's not the guns, it's the person. Okay, well, what's happening that we don't need to? Because with the old guy that was here in Atlanta, I'm hearing most of the issues was because they gave him the wrong medicine. I don't know how, true that's sitting with, but what do we need to do? Can the government assess and change? Can the states, I didn't know it was 166. That's the 166 mass shooting this year.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do?
We're only in May.
Yeah, we're only in May. It's very political because the young man who was involved in the shooting here in Atlanta, there have been several people that have worked with him that said, yes, he's a veteran. Let's start there. A veteran, someone who we encourage young people to go into the service, that, the United States of America is going to take care of you. And let's really be honest, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, up until now, has America really taken care of our veterans? And the answer is they have not. So
Correct.
Who do we hold accountable for making sure that the Veteran Affairs Department is getting the support that they need? Because this has been year after year after year that there has been a very high percentage of mass shooters who have been in combat, who have had some type of mental break. So we're talking about social emotional learning in schools, but how does it show up in our community? So JT, I'm glad you brought that up. Dr. Dana, I'm glad you highlighted this. And now how do we begin to say this is an election year? Where do we start to maneuver our political power locally to say, hey, locally, we want to make sure that our veterans are getting the proper support. Proper is the key thing, because we know what support to the United States for veterans, what it looks like, because it looks like a lot of homeless veterans. It looks like a lot of veterans who are not getting the mental support that they need. And, I had a very interesting conversation with Black women over this weekend. I had jury duty on Thursday, and the lady driving our shuttle bus. Yes, the lady driving our shuttle bus.
Are you still part of it?
No. I'm done. I'm good, y'all. I'm in the clear. But the lady driving our shuttle bus, so many of the women who were mothers, wives, sisters, aunts were like, yes, my husband, my son, my brother, my nephew, they are struggling mentally. It was a beautiful thing to see Black women of all ages being able to connect. But it was a very painful thing to hear how they are really struggling with getting care and support for their relatives who are veterans and are simply just falling apart because they don't have the support they need. So I'm hoping that people who have family members going through trauma, even if it's not the loss of a loved one, a lot of veterans are still grieving the things that they've seen while they were in combat. So good grief is something Dr. Danny does. Is simply amazing. She's also awesome in that space of affinity groups. So if that's something interesting to you, y'all already know Dr. Danny brings the fire. So make sure y'all connect with Dr. Danny, because more people,
something needs to change.
Well, more people need to, I believe that more people need to really start having the conversations around this is a problem and what can we do? Because the women on the shuttle bus, they were like, we don't even have a space to even connect and talk about these things. So having a conversation that this is an issue first, and then being able to connect people to resources, that's that magic, guys. The I Win Morning Show, we can only do so much. So stay tuned in to us on Mondays at 7:15. But there's so many things that we individually offer as well. Make that connection. Okay, that was my soapbox.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, I'm glad you mentioned women, because as Mother's Day is coming up, and in the Good Grief session that we just had yesterday, it was about sons and daughters who have lost their mothers, and how do we navigate through getting through Mother's Day, which is next week. It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and then we've got Mother's Day. And so I just wanted to remind everyone out there that, those who have lost mothers, or those who are missing mothers, that your mother is your angel. So just remember that. Wow. And also, for all of the things that they have left here, the legacy, we always talk about legacy here on this show. Just remember that it is because of the mothers who have brought us into this world, and the mothers and the women, all women who may not be biological mothers, but who are really diligent in advocating for the rights of their children and for all of us. So I just want to just put that out there. Thank you, women.
Yes.
Come on, women.
We still, listen, Women's History Month has passed. That was in March. It's May, and we're still celebrating women. Some things we're just going to do. We're going to celebrate women. We're going to celebrate people. We're going to celebrate Black history as many days as we possibly can, because
every month
they're trying to take history away like left and right. Awareness. Yeah, so beautiful weekend. We love Dr. Danny and the work that she's doing. JT, how was your weekend?
It was busy. It was busy and tiring, but we made it through. We made it through. I was up yesterday though at 6:30, and I didn't get in until 10:30. But we had some couple of things, because you want to show up for people so that they'll show up for you. So yesterday was one of those days where I went from location to location, assisting and helping friends. And I'm gonna throw this there because I felt some type of way.
Throw it in. Go ahead. Tell us about it.
Went to help a friend on her event, phenomenal event, right? And on the event, nothing against the people, but when I pulled up on the campus and I saw how big their land was and their house, and now they have like chicken coop and a pool and huge space for like multiple volleyball games and blow ups and all of this, and then the people across the street, I think they had emus, and they were selling like they had like 6 of them, land, big land, and I felt some type of way because I'm like, I didn't grow up like this, nor did I have access to stuff like this.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of like, why don't I know about what feeling it feels to have land and being able to, you know, saying having that growth and that expansion, and the place was literally off of a busy street in North Georgia, and you never would have known 6 houses are in this back place that's just like these little big farmhouses, but they got all of this land. And I'm like, I don't know too many people my color that grew up around that type of opportunity. But seeing what the kids and how the kids are being, you know, portrayed and how they're acting, they were great families. But I'm like, not saying we wasn't great families. It's just now after, and this is funny, but after watching Yellowstone, like that opened up my mind to understand about live cattle and about how much land really means and how they're fighting for this opportunity. But I'm like, I didn't grow up knowing and talking about that. Like, I just hate that we wasn't given that opportunity because of things prior to us, that we have to struggle to even get simple things like land and space and learning about chickens and cattle and horses and all of this stuff. You don't see a lot of us doing that. So I felt some type of way, but then
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Danny. Go ahead.
It's funny you say that, because what I would say, far more of us actually owned land. We just never, or stories were never told. Or we owned it and it may have been stripped from us. So when people assume that we just have never been in a position, we've always been probably disadvantaged in some way because we worked against.
Talk about it now.
However, there are so many stories of like Black people who have actually owned land but couldn't purchase it on their own, so they had to purchase it through a white person. But they have the money. They just weren't given the opportunity and respect. So I just want to remind everybody that, you know what, we own more. We have owned more than what people will ever allow, like, stories to be told about our ownership.
That's true.
However, yeah, like Camille said, land was stolen from us. Let's call it out. You know, Rosewood.
It was stolen, y'all.
So
listen.
We had stuff.
We do have land.
Stuff.
Okay.
I'm glad that Camille and Dr. Danny highlighted how we've had land and it's been stolen from us. Let's remember Tulsa, but let's also remember our own family stories. Yeah. I have this brick from the University of West Georgia. I was the second African American.
Put it back up.
Like,
put it back up.
Awesome.
Okay.
So this is an original brick. The wording was, you know, it was sculpted by the Black architect. He was the groundskeeper of the school. Now, the history of the University of West Georgia, like many schools, is that it was land taken from Black people. It actually is a burial area for former slaves and former Black people. And so we discovered that while we were there, and the university gave me this brick to remember the original staff members and the families who lost their land. Can you imagine that schools were built that are part of the, you know, state university system that used to be where people lived, and the churches were there, and they, you know, came together to congregate and have, you know, communal ceremonies and just have community. A lot of these things were taken from us. So I love that JT highlighted this point.
Yes.
And you know, I also like Camille's statement around our focus. Now, I have to go here for Allen's Printing Company. We have a blog that is our blog for this month that my daddy has really been speaking to families around what can we do to make sure that we're doing our part around legacy. How are we making sure we're keeping up with Big Mama and them house? You know, Granddaddy and the family house. How are we holding on to this? And so this month we're talking about making sure that people have power of attorney and, you know, understanding the processes of things that you need to have for your home. Where is the deed? All of these titles coming up.
Where is the deed?
It's important that we remember that we do have land, We do
Yes.
have access, and with so many of us going into real estate, it's not just so much about the buying and selling of land, but how are we utilizing the land that we have access to? So let's also remember this, and I love this comment right here going up about redlining for black people.
Redlining.
It's
I
real,
got
y'all.
okay. So let me ask you this, because in what you're saying about having the land, knowing what to do with it, and then sometimes, people are selling. So I want to jump kind of in the same subject off a little bit. How do we feel about me owning a multi-million-dollar company, and then my whole goal as a black entrepreneur is to sell it to somebody for a higher price? Should I sell to an organization or another company for a higher price when I know that my blackness and my advancement of creating opportunity for my people, should I sell for the money, or should I keep it to keep giving ourselves opportunity? Because I see sometimes, and these are things that happen in my mind quietly, where I'll see, black people own multi-million-dollar, humongous companies, then they'll sell it, and they'll sell it to another company that's not pro us or creating opportunities for us, but we're like, oh my God, they sold for $700 million. And I'm like, great, but now it's not being led by us again. Is that a win, or is that not a win?
I think it's a win for you.
Yeah.
It ain't a win for us. It's a win for you.
Yeah, it is. I agree with Dr. Danny. It's definitely a personal win. But it's also, it's an interesting thing. We've seen black families that have had access to land. They have sold the land. Black families that have had access to plazas or different spaces where they can have events. And they choose to sell for whatever reasons. Same with the family house. When siblings can't agree on what are we going to do? Should we make it a museum? Should we have somebody live in it? People sell because money is, it's access. It does provide power. And, we can wish that people would give back to their communities. But at the end of the day, that's that free will that kicks in. So there are some creative things that people can do. But it's the willingness.
Yeah, and JT, what's unfortunate is that normally we don't get the value. Like, we always seem to settle for a smaller amount. So your scenario is very unique, because the issue is always we don't get paid enough. Right. But the idea is, if somebody was going to quadruple what it is that you put into it, well, it ain't such a bad deal. But again, it's personal, and you're compromising what the purpose was for your company versus personal gain. So yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Own.
Yes.
I don't know what to do, because I get mad. I love watching football, and just randomly while I'm watching, I'm like, but there still are no black owners. Are we okay with it? Nobody's, I don't.
Right.
It's I keep seeing how much, and maybe I'm trading a line, but I see how much we kind of settle in being in our own space and not pushing. But I keep looking at, even though we are advancing, how much is still controlled by the other race, and how what we do, it's we want to do it to be accepted and to have our own. But once we get there, are we still trying to help the ones behind us? Or are we well, I done got here now, so let me just engage. Let me just, enjoy, because I had to work for this. I had to make my due. I had to do this. But I keep saying, well, I get it, but then we're still outnumbered in this place. How do we begin to, establish leadership where you are the ones who have bought Time Warner? You know what I'm saying? Discovery done bought Time Warner. Time Warner bought this. They sold it from AT&T. I think now you got another bank that have been brought out by Chase. I keep seeing all of these major corporations that are now advancing and taking ownership of smaller things, but they're still being led by people that's not like us.
That's true.
How do we begin to really make advancement to where we are also starting to go into the numbers? But yeah, NFL, I love it. But
listen, y'all.
Football.
This is leading us right into our big question of the morning. what are we investing in? That's really what we've been talking about. Where are our investments? We have access to land. We have access to property. One of the things that I definitely would have to add to this conversation around what we're investing in.
Was that thunder?
It was thunder and lightning on my end. Yes.
Oh, Dr. Danny, I was just about to bring you up, so I thought you were about to.
That was God agreeing with us.
I was about to say, Dr. Danny, I was coming to knock on your door because intellectual property is also something that is so important. And I think that we oftentimes see how in the music industry, in business, in real estate, our worth as Black people isn't always valued. And so how do we find value in that with others, but also with ourselves? And so we're talking about how all of these things connect. And I'm very curious about what people are experiencing. If you are a homeowner, if you're trying to buy a new car, what does the line of credit, play into that? But also the educator in me wants to, kind of hear some stories about, are we really investing in education the way that we should and what we're seeing? So yeah, loving all of these comments on this morning. Wow.
That credit thing, I just feel like I don't even know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
It seems like people out here that work on their credit, I think one of my friends thinks she had a 759, missed one payment because of something, and she dropped to like a 640 something. One payment missed. You're at a 759. Consistency, grow. One payment missed of something, and you're I'm like, are we really set up to fail? And this is my mental going very left. I'm like, is it really configured to where if we're Black, it's like we have a whole nother standards that we don't even see, that if we don't do it correctly or right, like there's so much. And I found out yesterday that even when I was talking about the land, that a lot of these people who have land, they have these different animals, not just because they love animals, but it's a tax write-off. And it's money they get. Who would have thought? Give me some chickens. Give me some herd. Give me some. Oh, that's we don't even know the back ends, because again, here we go, literacy, learning, education, getting information. We don't even know what's available because we sometimes won't take the time to read. But it's like, once we do read and we get the information, now where do we put that to action? Well, I can't put into action because my credit's not bad, so I can't go get land. I can't go buy my own property. I can't, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I wish there was some type of unit, organization that really pinpointed certain individuals that helps them get the knowledge, helps them get ahead and be able to, you know what I'm saying, start making these small advancements, because it's like, once we learn one thing, we don't have the other thing into play. It's just something we got to fix.
I just learned this a few months ago, but speaking of what you're talking about with like land and property, if you look into economically disadvantaged women-owned businesses or economically disadvantaged businesses, minority-owned businesses, specifically, they are looking for minority-owned businesses that cater to specifically those areas you were talking about with farming, and gardening and all like the manual labor areas that are normally male-dominated and white-dominated construction. They are looking to support economically disadvantaged. So when people say, I don't have any, I don't have good credit, or I don't have, savings, they're looking for people like you to invest in, because they understand our struggles and the disadvantages that we have. So I think we just need more education around those types of opportunities too. And we talked about this a little bit last week when we were experiencing or exploring just what are some of the avenues where people can be elevated in minority-owned businesses. And so again, I'm glad that we have this platform, because we're sharing the resources that people normally don't share freely.
That's right.
But if you have any friends out there who have gardening skills, who have a farm, who have, the ability to, again, do some form of manual labor, there are opportunities for you out there. Yes. I will be happy to share what I've just learned, even if I can't.
Catch it, the manual labor.
Yeah. And this is important CTEA work that's happening in Georgia. We've seen black farmers on TV rarely, but they are also impacted about agriculture and what's happening in our state. And so as we're thinking about the education piece, and this is why this comment is still up here in regards to we need more education on how to leverage our credit, on how to build credit, on how to build institutions within our community. Because here is the reality, and I love the comment that says white people are not spending their own money. They're not spending their own money. Now, how are we spending our dollar? And so if you're watching this live, I want you to do your own self-assessment. Before you go out and you buy Gucci and Coach and Air Max and, all of the things that we love, designer, clothing, perfumes, all of the luxury things that we like, have you invested in your family? Have you invested in, and when I say invested in your family, have you said, I have 5 nieces and nephews, I'm putting aside $5 for each of them for school. I know that my grandmother is 3 states away. Have I sent her something in the mail this month? I know that I have a family member who needs X, Y, and Z, that I put something aside to help them. These are just examples of what we can do. But also, I have family members who are realtors. Am I connecting, them to my network? If I have people that I'm, in connection with, have I connected them to my sorority or fraternity or my social group or my social club? Have I invited them into my neighborhood where there may be neighbors who are thinking about, moving and they don't have a realtor? So also leveraging the resources that we have and not being stuck with the I don't know.
Anybody who's out here listening and wants to either host an event, a lunch, or take Dr. Danny's tab, I will sit and talk to people. I will sit and talk to you gladly and tell you exactly what I have learned myself. Again, when I've asked for help has not necessarily come except for the Lord Savior Jesus Christ. But these folks out here who I've asked and they don't want to give back and share information, I'm like, that's fine, because I'm going to break this cycle. Again, we're talking about these cycles here. Break this cycle, we're going to share some information.
Sharing information is key, but we also have to go a step beyond and realize that we have to have people come in
That's right.
who are gifted in the area to do the work. And that does mean that we're going to have to invest, whatever that looks like. I believe in bartering services. I think that those help our businesses. If I'm a baker and you work with kids, listen, I need people, you need food. How can we work something out together? I think that also Black business owners have to remember that this is how our ancestors were able to come up. Going back to that marketplace, being able to create a marketplace for us. And when y'all hit Dr. Danny up, now, yes, she go give you some information for free, but also know that if you need the work done, invest in it. Because that my next part of this is, what are we really seeing as investments in our community? What investments, what investments are we seeing? HBCUs, what investment are we seeing when we still are seeing numbers like 2% of educators are Black, 2% of attorneys are Black, less than that in the medical field. Now, I love the HBCUs. I'm seeing all of these graduates every year, but what fields are we going into to really break that barrier of we're still at 2% here and 1% here? That's another question that we have to ask. We have a lot of students that don't have money to go to school. Where are the church scholarship funds? Where the church would make sure that, hey, if your family can't help you get to school, we're going to make sure that you are in school so that you can go out and become that attorney and that dentist and that homeowner and all of these things. So I'm putting it back on us too. Where are we seeing the investment within our community?
Well, I want to bring it back to schools since we're Teacher Appreciation Week, but where you are going to learn is in the classroom. You learn in the home, hopefully, but in the classrooms. I love when teachers open up their classrooms to share the space with community partners. When they invite people to come into the room and to talk to kids like they might not be able to talk to, but to be the mentor and to be the person who is like, wow, I'm the entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur looks like me. And so being able to have the invitation to come into some of these classrooms and to talk to kids candidly about what we're talking about from a professional standpoint. I think this is where we learn that community and schools work very well together, hand in hand, and create a partnership that extends beyond the classroom. So if I have been able as a student to sit in a classroom and identify people who look like me, who are investing, who are leading, who are owning, that means that I'm going to take that information far beyond when I graduate, and I will remember those people who are in my classroom and say, this is a model. This is a mentor. This is a resource. These are people who I can just refer to, and I can say, this is possible for me. I can now reach out to those people. I can hopefully find employment in these places, and I can find people who will then again help me learn the tools I need to do just that, to own, to lead, to innovate. So I think it starts in the classroom.
Yes, it does. And we have to support teachers, because there are teachers who would love this. Community partnerships are real, but here's another issue in working with parents. Parents and community members are not welcome in schools, even though that's the very first family engagement standard. So what can we do to change that? It's the power of the vote. Hold your school board members accountable. School board members know this is an issue. Let's cut the rug here. School board members, and I know cut the rug means dance, but y'all know what I wanted to say and I'm not going to say. Right. So let's cut the rug here and be very honest.
Just dance.
Everybody knows the issue, right? We know that there are barriers keeping parents out of schools. There are barriers keeping Black entrepreneurs like my father and others out of schools intentionally, because the school to prison pipeline makes money. So how are we holding these organizations, school board members, superintendents accountable? Because we see them dancing, they cutting the rug in the community. Every time you go on a school district's, y'all help me here, on the school district social media site, you see them shucking and jiving. And I meant that in exactly the way I said it. Shucking and jiving for everyone, but the students. And so let's be very candid and real about here. I'm looking for, But Did You Vote, to join the National Parents Union to help elevate parent voices in why they need to vote and how they can help make changes. Because if we could get school board members to change the volunteer policies and really make partnerships with parents and community members something that's valued, then we would start to see changes with young people who don't have options, who don't have resources, who don't have access and connections. And so to get to what Dr. Danny was saying, we have to first get to the power of the vote and have the people that we hold accountable to these offices actually do some work. My soapbox.
Good stuff.
No, you're right. You're right. And here's the thing. I've always thought about wanting to do this. I just don't know where, well, I do know where to start. It's just continuing getting information. But I do feel that there needs to be some type of depository or something going out that's making things simple, where, because I've always had this idea to create a website where, like, when voting is coming up for your particular area, you go to a place and you actually see the candidates. You see what they're about, what they are, like, not a long full out speech, literally saying, okay, this is what they want to do. This is what they're not doing. Here's the information, so that people can grasp it into their mental of who and what it is simply, so that they can start making a decision and knowing. Because I think that's where people don't want to really engage sometimes, is because certain people will overload them with information, do all this talking and stuff. But at the end of the day, what are you for? What are you against? What do you see this happening? What do you feel you're going to do about it? Give us the plain and simple, so we can at least start making a conscious decision on what we want to do, and then being able to move. But if we overload people with so much information, like, well, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Think about the politician talk. No, just going in. I don't want to hear that. I'm just going to move. I'm just going to do all this other stuff. So I think if there is a place that can be a depository for this information and being able to know who and what's coming up, and if there is a place, let me know so I can start sharing it. But I do think we need to start off simplifying it, so we do know, because you just said, Jason, this is an election year. This is not for the presidency. This is for who? Where do we need to put what this electioneer is going to do? Let's making that place simple. And if anybody want to work with me to help create that within the next month and a half, I would love to do that and launch a website. I'll pay for the website. I'll design it myself, but I want to know where we need to be able to start, because I can't, and this is not dumbing anything down. I'm always in the fact of making it simple enough to where anybody can grasp and understand, and let's start there. We can dig deeper, but we can't dig deep if we don't start tilling the ground first. So let's have that information so that people know, because truth being told, I didn't know this was an election year. Like, it has lost my mind. I'm owning my own, I'm working, not thinking about that, but I do need to. So now with you saying it, I've been researching while we've been on here. What's the election? What's going on?
That's good, JT.
You know what I'm saying, in the place. So
I want to put this out here and say that at the beginning of June, I'm going to get with our partners at the Akins Foundation. They have a breakfast spot that the I Win Morning Show will be doing our finale for the season in June. Thanks to these two amazing minds on here.
Meet us there so you can pay for our breakfast.
Okay.
So we're going to do that, but I'm going to put this out here and say that if you are in the state of Georgia, the very first weekend in June, I'm going to commission JT to come out and do what he just said for parent groups and nonprofits who need this support. I'm also going to invite out Dr. Danny. My sister Maritza will be in town, and there are parents who need this. There is not a network, to JT's answer. No, there is not a collective network. There is not an effective system in place. I am also going to charge faith-based leaders to also come out to this event that we'll get some information out to. And I want you guys to invest in this, because again, faith-based leaders, these conversations need to continue. And where we understand that pastors sometimes are teachers, that doesn't mean that you've been called to lead affinity spaces. And this is why you need a Dr. Danny, because you need someone to come in and do this if we're going to really do it with fidelity. And I know I'm preaching, JT, so go ahead and dance, because I'm being honest with us. A lot of times we'll come in and say, I can do it myself, and we're blocking the people from progress. So invest those dollars, whether it's $100 love offering or $500. I don't know. I can't secure that bag. I'm just opening up the pathway that we're going to do this, and we want people to show up. I'm charging Barney Jackson to get some people that he's connected to come out and say, hey, you guys are leading your church. I see y'all have some growth, but we have a reality here. We're not reaching young people and families the way that we need to. And what families are saying is they don't have information to get. They don't have a connector. They don't have a connection. Well, that means that our nonprofits and our schools are failing in the area. So we need y'all to come out and get the resource that we said were free. But let me also go back to something that Barney said, that these are not handouts, that this is an investment. So where we are exchanging some free information, y'all got to come on in here now and make the investment. Investment means that if I got a penny or a dime or a nickel, I'm going to go ahead and add that into the bucket. I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to come with a good attitude. I'm going to come with willingness to learn, because these are also attributes that help make the work be more effective. So I'm just trying to help people understand that, yes, we will do this. I love what Camille has been saying throughout the conversation. We have to build economically for us. So now if we put our money into this, faith-based leaders, parent leaders, nonprofit leaders, we want you all to come together collectively to help us start fill in a small area of the gap. This is just one segment. This isn't fixing gang violence and poverty and homelessness. This is just helping us to communicate better and share resources through a more effective system. So we need everybody on board. We done talked this up. We gave you guys some resources. Now we opening the door. We're not offering Christ to you per se. Well, we are, but we're opening up the doors to offer this to you to help us build community. And bet you my golly wow, I'm hoping that some people will show up and say, hey, how do we get information to connect with us?
I want to respond to those who will say, well, why should I care? This has nothing to do with me, blah, blah, blah. Well, you being a part of the solution helps you then remedy the problem. Like it's like, if you aren't a part of the conversation about the solution, then don't complain about the kid that you could have saved or who broke into your house because you didn't help create a solution. Like, you are a part of this because you are a part of the community. And
Yeah.
so just want to remind you that you are so important. We are all important. We all have a say-so in this. We all have a role to play in this.
Yes,
Whether
indeed.
you are retired and you live near a local school, well, guess what? That's still your school. It's still a part of your neighborhood. And so just every time you're saying why, I don't need to, I don't want to, just remember, because as soon as you walk out the door, you could be a victim of something, of
Yeah.
some crime, something that could have been prevented if we had better solutions,
That's right.
better resources, better programming. So just remember that this involves you too.
Yeah. And we can improve these things by us collectively doing the work. We're not going to, these things are not going to get better just by happenstance. We have to
Right.
be willing to do the work for ourselves, our families, but also the greater community. And that's what we're telling you guys. What are we investing in? What are we willing to invest in for us? And so, you know, the Asian community, shout out to them. They make sure that they invest their local dollars with them. All other cultures and races, ethnicities, they're doing the same thing, guys. We can do it as well, especially when the black dollar seems to be funding everybody. I mean, baby, Gucci is making some money. That Peruvian hair is making some money, okay? I mean, everybody is making money off the black dollar. It's time for us to make money off of the black dollar by seeing that investment in our community. That's what we've been talking about this morning. How are we investing in us? Guys, we almost at the end of our show. It's 7 minutes after 8 o'clock. Dr. Danny, we didn't get our affirmations, but we got enough affirmed. JT, are you going to do your random things?
I can, since I won't be here next week.
What? Now, I'm glad JT opened up the door and said he's not going to be here next week, because y'all know we praying that JT gets on because he's so busy. He's booked and busy, y'all. We're glad about that. Yeah, he is booked and busy, but I will say that we do have some guests, hosts that are going to be coming on the show next week on the 15th. Well, actually, Dr. Danny and I will be joined by the very first and original host of the I Win Morning Show, Tanya Winters Buford, who is a friend of the family, supporter and board member of the foundation, but most importantly, just somebody that we love. The following Monday, the Barney Jackson, who has been in our comments and definitely a part of this work for a while, will be one of our guest hosts that is on. When JT returns with us, we're going to cut up, y'all. We're going to have a great time on that show. And then a really good sister, good friend of ours. She's also been on the NPU national platform, Tara Gay, who family simply loves. She is going to be joining us at the end of the month to close out May and Mental Health Awareness Month. And the conversations are going to be amazing, guys. So JT has this beautiful segment called JT's Random Things. And let me tell you, if your soul has not been blessed this morning, if you did not get a good laugh, I'm still stuck on the Fruit Loops from last week. But go ahead, JT. We on your random things, man.
All right, people of God.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to give y'all some. This is going to be a little bit more like scientific stuff today. Just random stuff, I'll be thinking about. But we're gonna hit it hard. And then there's gonna be like some city stuff. But this is really funny. First one: before toilet paper was invented, Americans used catch it, corn on the cobs.
What?
JT, bye. No, y'all listen.
I'm serious.
I Win Morning Show
I'm
is
serious.
over. It's over.
Listen.
Say it again. I missed it.
Before toilet paper was invented, Americans used to use corn cobs.
Oh, I didn't miss it. It was just weird.
Oh, I didn't miss it. Almost made me fall. I almost fell over. Literally, I meant just down like that. I just almost fell over.
I will never eat corn on the cob.
JT, why would you do this?
I'm just saying
that.
That's it.
I thought you were gonna say like. I thought you were gonna say like a magnolia leaf or something.
Yeah,
no. This is the reasoning. They said alternatively, they use periodicals like the Farmer's Almanac, which was designed with a hole so it could hang in outhouses. Necessarily, it is the mother of inventions after all. So yeah, it was invented and used
help
for
us,
corn
dear
cobs.
God.
Okay, number 2. This is so random. Just really, I didn't know it, but this is one of my favorite cities. The Empire State Building has its own zip code.
Oh, that's awesome.
I can see that.
And
I can too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
has its own zip code. It's so crazy. And then this is the last one.
Okay.
A blue whale's tongue can weigh as much as an elephant.
So I weigh I weigh like the same amount of a ton of
What?
That
Help
just
us,
put
help
my
us, help
weight into perspective. Oh my god.
First of all,
It said their hearts, meanwhile, can weigh almost a ton and needs to beat just once every 10 seconds. Yeah, a blue
Once
whale's
every
tongue
10 seconds?
can weigh.
I mean, as
Yeah,
heavy as it is,
their
yeah,
weight,
once
yeah.
every 10 seconds, yeah, that
But
would make sense.
their tongue can weigh as much as an elephant.
I'm gonna put that on my dating profile. I weigh the size of a tongue.
I mean, let me tell you,
I'm skinty.
it doesn't even have to chew you up. I mean, it could just be like, let me just boom, like my tongue would
Just think that tongue lay on you and you are out of here. Like,
No, nobody knows.
Get
No,
that tongue
nobody
away.
until you said that elephant part that a tongue was that big. I'm gonna say
Yeah, I
weigh.
was like, is that heavy?
listen.
How much water does it retain? Okay, listen, y'all. I'm gonna ask this question tonight on Speak Black Man because we're celebrating Black men in science and their achievements. So, JT, this was perfect. I'm gonna ask Jonathan on tonight how much water does the tongue of a blue whale retain? Because that's gonna really make it make sense for me. If I know how much water the tongue can retain, I'm like, okay, that adds to the weight. Because I know it's just not the flesh and the tongue that weighs that much. Because if it does, without water being added to it, oh man, it would be like the size of an elephant. It would be a village.
But that makes a lot of sense about the biblical story of Jonah and the whale. It's like, oh, you really could be up in there. Like you really could live in a whale.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that was wild. Like we did say wow. I'm like, oh my God. Wow.
And this is the random in the same. Did y'all know that this is the last one? That goldfish's mental, they only remember every 3 seconds. So after 3 seconds is up, they don't forgot.
So they can basically be like, oh, I got out of this fish net, but then forget in the next 3 seconds and be right back.
Like they can be driving or flying or swimming and forget where they're going. They're just going.
But they do have such a short lifespan, so that would make sense. It's like
That's probably
when you said driving and flying, I was like, I think he's talking about people.
No,
because help us,
know,
guy,
they
help
be
us,
going
please.
somewhere, and that's why their lifespan so short. They be forgetting where they are. They go places they shouldn't be going.
That sounds like
They
a lot of
just
people.
get
they
tired of
stupid. They stupid.
Lord help the
We better not say that because Peter gonna take us out.
Not Peter. Dr. Danny gonna close us out with our affirmation for the morning. People, make sure you take good notes. If you stayed on to the end, we love you. Dr. Danny, go ahead and close us out with our affirmation.
I want to leave y'all with this because this is really inspiring for Monday. I am liable to make mistakes, but I can likely work them out. If I can approach every Monday with Friday joy, I can overcome anything. Take that with your Monday today.
Man, I love it. I love you guys. Amazing show on today. Don't forget, we have some amazing guest hosts that are coming up on the show. We are super excited. I have to say, we had our Lily's Foundation high tea over the weekend. This was an original event that we had in the beginning, so we were able to bring that back this year. The grandparents were beautiful. It was an amazing event. We're super excited about our upcoming virtual workshop with Dr. Danny as we get ready to close out the school year. And grandparents have something to say. I mean, they really, really do. Shout out to all teachers, educators, My childhood best friend got married this weekend, so a lot of the family that was there, they were like, "Oh, you guys have known each other for how long?" And I was like, "Elementary, middle, high, college. We grew up in church together. So we're church kids, and yeah, it was really, really beautiful. So busy weekend, but great weekend. My cousin Miles graduated. Shout out to Miles, who graduated, first great grandchild on my Aunt Bert's line. So very excited for them and happy for him. And that's it, guys. So celebrate teachers this week. Make sure you subscribe to Educational Entities. We have a show coming up on this Wednesday, 6:30 on EE. Okay. Teachers, we love you. Thank you, teachers.
Thank you.